What's up, gentlemen? This is the brutal truth about dating in Thailand as particularly a black male. But this is going to apply to pretty much anyone. So stick with me because the simple fact is not everyone is treated the same, but you can use that to your advantage. Now, I've lived in Thailand for 4 years, specifically Bangkok, kinda off and on because I have three houses that I rotate amongst throughout the year. And so I have my Thai visa, and more importantly, I've dated a ton of women in Bangkok and some other cities like Chiang Mai and Phuket. Which, a little fun fact for you guys, all of a vast majority of the modeling agencies are out of Phuket. So before I reveal the brutal truth, there are some things that I think I should tell you first and foremost. So in Thailand, there's actually quite a few ethnicities there. So there's a lot of women also from Cambodia, from Laos, from Myanmar, and there's a little bit of Vietnamese, and there's a surprising amount of Taiwanese girls there. And as most people know, most Thai women aren't exactly the curvy, busty type that I myself really enjoy. But this doesn't mean they aren't pretty. They are extremely beautiful. They tend to be small and slender, so not exactly my favorite body type. But if I had to rate them, I'd probably say Thai and Taiwanese, and then probably Laotian are some of the most attractive options. And I'm just talking pure beauty. They have extremely delicate features and extremely beautiful faces. But everyone is different, so obviously it depends on the body type that you like. Now, to give you an idea of how Thai women behave, I'll tell you a story or two depending on how much time that I have. So, the first time I went to Thailand, I got the Tinder like passport or whatever it was called way back then, and I switched my location to Bangkok because that's where I was going. And so I started swiping on Tinder. And I started doing this probably a month out or so. And so I started matching with some girls and we started talking. And then obviously it comes around, hey, when are you going to be here? Blah, blah, blah. And I had quite a few women asking me when I was going to be arriving for one particular reason. They wanted to pick me up from the airport. Now, I was arriving really, really late. And it was going to be a really long travel day. So I was like, don't worry about it. I'll figure it out. But thank you. And they absolutely insisted. And eventually, I figured out the girl that I liked the most, aka was the most pretty in my opinion. And I told her what time I was arriving and where I was going to be staying. And I made some excuses to the other girls that I was still interested in probably going on dates with, but obviously I can only have one girl pick me up from the airport. And so obviously we make arrangements and she's making sure my flight's on time and the whole 9 yards so she can be there promptly when I am getting out of the airport. And that is exactly what she did. And without revealing where she works, she had to be up extremely early in the morning. And keep in mind, my flight arrived pretty late. So I just figured she had dropped me off and we would hang out the next day. But boy, was I wrong. So we go to the place I'm staying and I have to go through the whole like check-in process. They have to set up my face for the Face ID to get into the elevator and all that stuff. And I go back out to her car to get my stuff and she pulls out a bunch of groceries. She's like, "Oh, here, I got this for you. I remembered your favorite food is this and I want to make it for you. But if you're too tired, I understand. I can come over some other time and make it for you." And frankly, I was super hungry because it had been a long travel day and I hadn't eaten much food. So I was like, "Yeah, sure. Let's go up and we will make this food." And so I'm like, I don't smell very good. I smell like a old dirty shoe. I'm gonna shower real quick. And while I'm showering, she starts making the food, preparing the food, and doing all of that. And I was like, "You need me to do anything?" When I got out of the shower, obviously. And she's like, "Oh, no, you've had a long day. Just relax." And I was like, "Okay, well, I can do that. That's nice of you." And eventually, and we're talking while she's cooking, and eventually the food's ready, and we turn on the TV and we start watching something while eating. And I kid you not, as soon as I was done with my food, she immediately picks up the bowls and starts doing all the dishes. And I'm just like, okay. She didn't ask me to help, she didn't say nothing. She just went and did the dishes. And let me remind you, this is a girl who has a full-time job and she goes to school. So when I hear particularly American women say, "Oh, I don't want to cook for you, blah, blah, blah," that's something you have to unlock because I don't have a ring on my finger or whatever. I always think about some of my other dating experiences where these women have to go through a lot more and they willingly do this stuff without you even asking or mentioning it. And so she's eventually done and she comes back over to the couch, and we continue watching this movie, and then one thing leads to another and it's starting to get a little bit spicy. And boy, was she a freaky one. But that is not a YouTube appropriate story, so let's get this train back on the tracks. So we do our thing, and when we're done, she goes and showers. And then when she's done with the shower, I go and shower as well. And when I am done with my shower, the most amazing thing happened. She had put the clothes that I was wearing into the washing machine. She stripped the bed of all the linens, put those in the washing machine. She made the bed with the other linens, and she had unpacked virtually all of my stuff and put them away. Then she kicks herself out. I didn't have to ask her to leave. I wasn't implying anything. She's just like, "Oh, okay, I gotta go now. I have to be up early in the morning. I'll see you. I'll see you tomorrow." Because we had made plans to see each other the next day, because obviously it was late, and that was my original plan. Have this girl pick me up, go back, and then see her the next day. And so she's leaving, and I'm like, "Oh, let me give you some money for the groceries and for picking me up from the airport." And she was like, "No, it was my pleasure. I'm so glad I got to meet you," and all this stuff. And I was like, no, really, like, that's a lot of food, and that's a lot of gas. And I really appreciate it. It saved me a lot of time and effort and all that. And she's like, no, don't worry about it. I gotta go. So she leaves, and I see her again the next day. And this time I'm like, okay, we're gonna go get food. I'm not making you cook a feast again. And then she wanted to go show me around some temples, and then there's this mall called Icon-Seum, and she wanted to go there and show me around and do all that stuff. And so we go do that, and then we also go to walk at this park, I think is Lumpini Park. And we go back to my place, and same thing. She showers, she tidies everything up, she takes all the stuff out of the washer, and she folds it and puts it away. That, and I'll say this, that is not an uncommon experience from the multiple women that I have dated in Thailand. That is pretty much exactly how it goes every single time. So that is pretty much how you can expect to be treated. Now, for the brutal truth that I want to tell you is that, yes, people are treated differently in Thailand. And this is the best way I could possibly explain it. So say you're a 5 out of 10 and there's another white guy who is a 5 out of 10. Just by going to Bangkok or Thailand in general, that guy, the white guy, is probably going to be a 7 out of 10 at least, if not an 8 out of 10. And you're probably still going to be a 5 out of 10 for most people. Now let me explain. So for probably 80% of the population, the white guy is going to be at least a 7 or 8 out of 10. And that is for numerous reasons, but mostly cultural reasons. And then the other 20%, they're going to be girls who are attracted to other guys, like black guys specifically. And part of the 80% that like white guys could also like black guys as well. And so let's just say that's another 20%. So that's 40% of the population who is probably going to like black guys, but 20% are specifically going to like black guys. And these are just rough numbers, okay? So I say that to say it's not exactly a small percentage of the population. So it's not like 1 or 2%. There's a rather significant number that really like black guys. And so when I say you're a 5 out of 10 for a majority of the population, well, that's because like a certain percentage are obviously only going to be interested in white guys because of their cultural and societal programming. And that's going to be most of them, but there's still a significant portion who are going to be interested in you. And the cool thing about that is that the women who do like you, you're going to be an 8 or 9 or maybe even a 10 out of 10. And that's because there's not a lot of black guys there, especially in comparison to white dudes. And your age doesn't really matter because they really don't have issues with age gap dating in Asia or Thailand. I mean, if you ever go to Thailand, you'll see a bunch of like 60-year-old white dudes with 20-year-old Thai women. Like, age gap dating is not a big deal. But it would be a lie to say, yeah, if you're a black guy, you're going to be the exact same as a white guy. That's just not true. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be difficult. In fact, it's really easy to date over there. And so that is the truth about dating in Thailand. If you have anything you'd like to add to this conversation, I invite you to comment down below. Also, like, subscribe, helps with the algorithm. And as always, peace, much love.